everything in the book. If you can't take that, that's the entry admission. If you can't do that, you're not made for this fight. So tonight, it's not the White House, it's not Trump. Good Lord. Think of what that man has on his shoulders. Think of how he works. He can't do anymore. He can't handle anymore. He's stopping the Third World War, changing the world's economic system, changing the culture, securing the country, fighting these insurrectionists that only control the greatest cities on earth in our country. Like I told you last year, it's you. Why do I come to this thing? I don't do a lot of these speeches because you make a difference. And if we are to succeed like we've succeeded this year, you've got to leave it all on the field, what you did this year. But here's reality check. It only gets harder. The stakes get higher. The odds get longer. It gets tougher. And the stakes for you personally get higher. You could get out now. If you got out now, you could probably go back to normal society and not be othered. But you go down this fight, because a fight it shall be to hold this house, and how nasty that's going to be. You're going to be identified. And if you're down for the second part of the run, which is between 26 and 28, because that's going to be a clash like nobody's ever seen in this country.
Putting it to the metal, pedal to the metal, I guess I'd call it. Hey, friends, Robert Imbriali here. Thank you so much for joining us. Got a great show ahead. Two wonderful co-hosts today, and we're going to have a lot of fun with them. Want to just talk to you real quick. A couple of things that have come up, which is kind of fun. Well, the first one's not really fun, but we've had a fun month. And as you know, Bruce has been staying with us. He's been on the property with his wife, and they've been staying in the RV. Sadly, it's the last day. They're pulling out tomorrow to go help Lewis with his big rally that's coming up this weekend, and then they'll be heading back east. So just like that, the month is gone. So we're a little sad to see them go, but it's been a lot of fun to have them here, no question. And, there'll be better things ahead, I'm sure, for Bruce, and he's got big plans, and I'll let him tell you all about those. I don't want to spill the beans on him here. Let's not go there. So Bannon was talking about real quick there. He was talking about everything being on Trump's shoulders, right? So you look at that and you say, he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders and a whole lot more, right? Very, very rarely do you see a politician take on real challenges and real problems. They're usually in it for themselves, right? Trump is kind of a different beast. He's in that area. And really what he's saying, if you are feeling the feel of where society is right now, there's a lot of frustration. And you might say, wait a minute, we were celebrating 1 year ago, Trump won. But it's not happening quickly enough. And I think you're starting to see it. Some of the pundits are saying it. It's no longer a secret. There's a lot of stuff that we thought we would see by now and haven't seen. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with what Lewis, Bruce, me, all the people in this world have been saying. At the end, it all comes back to us. Really, it does. It's up to us. When we finally say enough, and enough of us stand up and say enough, it will end. They have power over us to do what they're doing because we're kind of complacent or apathetic, maybe. We're not stepping up and we're not doing what we need to do. So what we saw in New York City is a good example. Right? Actually on Tuesday of this week, it was a complete wipeout for the good guys. Right? Democrats won kind of everything. I don't know that anything that was on the ballot that we actually won. It was kind of expected. So was it because enough of us didn't turn out to vote? Was it because we didn't have a candidate in there that we really cared about? So we just stayed home? Were the elections fraudulent? We're seeing a lot of stories about that now. Is it a sign, literally, of things to come? Or what has to happen at this stage for us to ramp things up to get back in the game? Because there's a lot of disbelief right now this week. It's been really interesting to see. Truly, we're burning daylight, and maybe we can use this as a wake-up call for more people. to say, hey, guys, we got to get in the game here. This is a little bit crazy. It's time to step up. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Well, first, let me introduce you to my co-host here. Number one is Mr. Bruce Poppy. Bruce, how are you, my friend? I don't hear Bruce. He's muted.
God bless America. That's like first 50 dates. I've never done a podcast before, so I don't know how this thing works. But no, I have a slightly different viewpoint. You know, instead of being a little bit down, it's really exciting to see, because here's what you can't tell people the truth. You got to show them. And, when you really think about what they're talking about Tuesday in New York specifically, every time somebody talks about socialism, it's utopic, it's fantastic, everybody gets everything, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it never works. It's been tried through history since the dawn of time, and every time it fails and crashes and burns.
Yep.
So, we got this new version of the of the socialism, communism, Marxism, the democratic socialists now. And there's but it's a win for MAGA, I think, because the people in New York, there's already people, talking about all kinds of crazy stuff, leaving this and that and the other. So people are going to see. And, then when we come around 2026, the midterm stuff, the messaging from MAGA and our side is going to be, communism, socialism. Take a look at what's happened in New York versus common sense, type stuff. So I think it's a win. It might be one step back, but I think, going forward, it's going to be 2 steps forward.
Absolutely. We're going to get into this because this is kind of the top story for us today. And I'm sorry I didn't send you the readout. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on the outline. It's here.
I'll get it tomorrow. It's fluid.
It's fluid. My other co-host today, Dr. Jesse Keener, joins us, and we had so much fun. Dr. Jesse, one of the things that always excites me is when we have a guest on and then we hear from the audience and they write, she was great, she was amazing. And I got tons of those messages. So happy to bring you back. It's so good to see you here. Dr. Jesse, if you don't know, is a dedicated educator and facilitator for what she calls True Health. And I'm sure we're going to touch on a couple of health topics today. Boy, we can't avoid that. She's married and resides in Central Texas. She has hosted her own TV health talk show and done hundreds of radio and podcast interviews, including, I think this is our 3rd together, isn't it? Yeah. Welcome in.
It is. I'm glad to be here. And I'm actually in love with this topic. I am really clear about what's happening, and my interpretation, I'm kind of leaning on the side of Bruce's interpretation, which is this is a good thing. This is actually, by the way, I was born in New York City, in New York Hospital, so I have a particular interest in how this all plays out. But I really think this is, the good guys have set this all up. The actual mayor, and this is, by the way, I'm going to completely agree with Tarot by Janine and her pulling on this, because she did pull on this, and what she got, and I got, my intuition said the same thing, which is that this guy is a plant from the good guys. He's a capitulated plant, and he is doing this because we need to show people, and I'm sorry that we're still here, and we are still here, that we need to show people more and more and more what it looks like when you elect a socialist / communist / liar, fraudulent, paid by who knows, weffers. This is what you get. So I do feel like Bruce said, this is a positive. This is a win. It's just we're not used to this level of cognitive dissonance. And I think I just want to go on record for saying Americans suck at cognitive dissonance. We've got to get really good at holding those 2 opposing points and going, all right, now what? What is actually this? What is actually this is the good guys are showing America, we're going to take one of your favorite cities. It's not San Francisco. It's not Portland. That's not important enough. The world doesn't watch them enough. The world doesn't give a shit about San Francisco. Pardon my French. Oh, I love New York. Yes, that's our child. We're going to take that poster child and we're just going to make it look so, and it is, it's looking like London, but I hate to say it this way, but this is how humans advance. Humans don't, and I said this last time, Humans never pleasure themselves into transformation, evolution. It only happens through pain, fear, terror, etc.
Yeah.
So we have to show everyone in the world, because the world is watching, exactly what New York is turning into. And it's already a you know what show. It's already there.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff on that today. It's law of attraction in action, right? It's what Esther Hicks always talks about. It's like you have to see the contrast to see what you don't want to know what you do want, right? And yeah, you make a good point. That's exactly what a lot of people are saying. I just want to say thank you to Raindrop 369 for the donation. I really appreciate that. Touches the heart, when we have our viewers who really love the work that we do here. Appreciate it, very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Bruce, I think you hit on it. I was sharing the kind of the feeling that I'm getting from the people out there, but I'm on the same page with both of you in terms of this is actually a good thing. I was actually happy to see the wipeout on Tuesday, and it's kind of like I was feeling it for the moment, kind of in the minority about it, but. Like, you got to see what you don't want, and it has to go that way a little bit to wake us up. I thought San Francisco might be enough, but like you said, Dr. Jesse, I don't think people care about San Francisco, right? What do you think, Bruce?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, there was definitely some fraudulent. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw Elon Musk's post about what the actual ballots looked like. I mean, what the F? I mean, that's,
He was
and
on there
that's,
twice,
again,
by the way.
right. Yeah, we have to, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have to show people all of it. Like, we're on the other side of this. We're already there. And these are the people still going through that montage phase. And this is going to
Yeah.
be one of those montages where they go, oh, really? The ballots actually did look like that? That's not a meme. That's not just
Yeah.
what? No,
Yeah.
because there's people out there, I can't believe it, honestly. They don't like me, Elon Musk. They don't follow him. They don't like him. They've traded their Teslas in. I have one in my family member because they don't like Elon. But when he puts a post out like that and says, hey, here's what the ballots look like, I mean, it's hard to deny that that's going to make a big
Well,
difference.
they
So
don't like him. Bruce and I talk about this a lot. They don't like him because they've been programmed by the media, right, Bruce? They just see it constantly. Hate, 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 hate. I think Trump is 97, 98% negative stories about him on the left media. It's like, well, in Canada, all my relatives, they can't believe that I would be a Trump supporter. It's unfathomable to them that this guy is a Nazi. He's Hitler and reincarnated. I mean, all the stuff that they're being told, they don't get the other side. They only get one side.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned the left media. Is it all media like left nowadays? The normal, that normal people consume, not people like you and I,
Right.
and the people watching us, and Dr. Jesse as well. I mean, we're all in the know. The things that are happening on the daily, through the news, are for the unawakened, the normies, the NPCs. That's what that's for. It's not for us.
Yeah.
And so I don't, I've relegated myself or just made that decision that I'm not going to be moved and swayed by the comings and goings of the daily, news cycle. You watch it, you see what's going on. Okay. There's a couple of markers in my mind that I'm looking for and waiting for, and we'll see.
And I think that's a really important attitude to have, Bruce.
Yeah.
I think that is probably one of the most important things is that if we can help people learn how to sort of contain in a particular place within themselves what's happening and really use the rest of their energy for self-development, character development. Listen, I've spent 40 years in the trenches of getting well and improving my well-being. And I got to say it out loud. It's all about character development. It is all about learning how to take in data. And again, I'm going to talk about cognitive dissonance, having an ability to go, this is what I was taught in high school about my biology. This is what they're all saying. And can I even go over there a little bit to explore? So I think this is really an important time for the audience and anyone else we can reach out to understand. No, this is really about cultivating your mind. This is about cultivating, if you can understand that there was a giant movie going on and it had to be this way, it just had to be this way because things got so effed up. But if you can understand that that's happening, the game is actually learning how to be okay and let go and hold back a little bit and say, I can contain the news of what's happening with a larger understanding. And as I take a nice breath in, I can integrate that information into my larger understanding. Most people have no ability to do that. It's our job to help them, I feel.
It's all about discernment. I think we had this conversation, Bruce. It's all about the discernment, your ability to discern the truth from the fiction. And, with AI, it's gotten a little bit more complex. It's a little bit more challenging to do. But we have to be able to do that. We have to be able to look at what the news is feeding us and recognize it for what it is, entertainment/propaganda, and, be able to see through the nonsense of it all.
Oh, absolutely. And, the thing we got to understand, everything that we're seeing, everything, you could almost say everything in your entire life is completely neutral. There is no up, down, good, bad. It's the meaning that we give it, right? So, and then that meaning we give it can affect our emotions one way or the other. And then we have a shitty day or we have a fantastic day based on external circumstances. So this is all designed, this whole fifth generation warfare situation. It's all designed. It's a war of, I've said this many times, war of stories, war of narratives. And what comes through and how it affects us is completely on us. And it's the meaning that we give it. Because all of it's neutral.
Yeah, there's a piece of my work that's really exciting to me that really applies here, which is that humans are not designed to run off of a fear-based system. So this would be sort of like imagining a corrupt Windows, right? Humans actually are designed to run off of what's called the pineal operating system. What do I mean by that? I mean that their adrenal glands are balanced. They're not shooting out a ton of stress hormone, fight or flight responses. And because of that, it actually gives the pineal gland the master gland position. Nobody talks about this. This is part of my work, but it's very real. When we do the right breath work, the right meditation, the right exercise/sunlight/whatever, and we get our adrenals to be balanced, it actually allows us to run off this system. This system is the system of connection, communion, and unconditional love. And what I've experienced when my body is running off that system, I cannot think falsehoods, and I cannot think fear-based thoughts. I cannot muster them. They do not happen. It just isn't what that system can do. Much like computer software systems, it just does what it does, but it doesn't do anything else. So when we're in the design of whatever our creator, whoever that is, whatever our original design is, it is to run off the pineal operating system. What we've seen happen to humanity over the last whatever eons is corrupting us to run off, are you ready? The hypothalamic operating system. The adrenals are forcing all this cortisol. It's changing, completely changing the structure of our software into a different software that is all duality based. It's 100% not this, right, wrong, good, bad, oh no. And it actually forces us much more into our reptilian brain center, which is not adult, it is not competent, and it's not mammalian. So what we're dealing with right now as we move into this, I feel like we're dealing with the next stage already, which is most of what we've been concerned with is either finished, done, handled at Gitmo, or is in the works already. That's my view on this. That's my 40,000-foot view.
Well, that
a
is
lot of it's already handled.
Yeah, and you hear a lot. Janine talks a lot about that, and it gets a little frustrating sometimes. She says, "Oh, this happened in the past," and like, no, it's like, but she says that a lot, right?
Yeah. So if we could just take 50% of that as being true and go, okay, what if half of what Jesse just said is accurate? And what if the game now is to learn how to function in our bodies in the original operating system, which is not fear-based. See, nobody's talking about this. I mean, literally no one is having this discussion. But we are designed to run off the pineal gland, which means all the other glands are happy. Our third eye is open. You ready for that one? So we're over here, we're forced into this hypothalamic operating system. Third eye is closed. It's not even in the loop.
Wow.
So I think we're really at an exciting time, but it's an important time, and we have to do everything that it takes to stay out of fear and projection, because that's the default button that forces, that's like pressing ESC on your computer and all of a sudden the screen gets small. You hit that fear button inside of yourself, you're going to be changing yourself and defaulting into that hypothalamic dualistic operating system. So in other words, what am I saying? I'm saying there's a certain way of thinking about all this that's going to be relatively impossible if you're actually running off that hypothalamic operating system. In other words, your computer software will not allow you to have that processing ability. We have to get really good with our own discernment. Who is over there, so far over there, they don't have that processing ability, and who can we still work with? Who can we still speak to that actually can move into this new way of being, which is running off of this original software, the pineal gland software, the third eye software. So it's very exciting, but it's also a little bit scary because nobody's talking about this yet.
Hey, Bruce, I think you have a great interview with Dr. Jesse coming up on this one.
Oh my gosh.
I think this is a great
we
topic.
Spend days.
Yeah.
You know, she brings in some of the sciencey stuff to stuff that I've been feeling within my body and my spirit for a while now, and everything lines up. It's amazing to me. I mean, I should say it's amazing. It should be the normal course of action. That that the synchronicities and the things that we see, and when we open ourselves up and expand our gifts that are already inside of us, all these crazy things that people would throw us in a mental institution for if we start talking about. But it's this reality. I'm living it. I'm experiencing it. This isn't some shit I read in a book or something or anything like that. It's mind-boggling to me that I lived 50 plus years of my life on the other side of that equation, and now I got the back, call it the back half. I'm thinking it's the front half, right? I'm going to live forever. I am. This body might fail, but I'm not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. Yeah,
and part of that is what system are you operating with? In other words, which software are you running off of? And this is why it's so exciting. If we want to really open up the avenues for things like genius brain and super senses and beyond just intuition, it's all going to come from running off that system. I'm guaranteed. I've been doing it for several years now. It's absolutely amazing. And it's not magic. It's just biological, vibrational, and we're built for it. I believe this is the original design, is to run off that pineal operating system, which gives us access to the DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which gives us really huge super intelligence, activates our senses, your inner vision, your inner guidance, your sense of connection with others. So I believe humans were designed that way, and all of the rest of this has just been a giant corruption, a giant control mechanism, and we figured out how to dumb them down, and we're going to change their diets and get them all eating grains and just make them fat and stupid. But the reality is we have it. We know what to do next. We actually do.
Yep. Seeing that picture on the screen there makes me want to go, ow.
Well, that was last
it.
night's supermoon. I went out just before we went over to the little party there, and I got some pictures of it. And I had posted it, and the reason Dr. Jesse's here today is because she saw that post that says, "Hey, I'm ready to be on your show," and I'm like, "Okay, how about now?" But I don't know. Did you guys feel anything with that moon yesterday? Did you feel an energy shift? Because it was pretty intense from my perspective.
I know I was super hyper focused last night. I worked, got a whole bunch of stuff done. So I mean, from that aspect, I'm still, my body, my circadian rhythm, still trying to get used to this stupid friggin' time change thing, and then I'm still 40 years out on the East Coast, and all of a sudden on the West Coast, it's like a different planet out here.
I noticed, and my husband said the same thing, that there was just a lot of energy. And even when we were sleeping, it's like we were deep, and then we'd kind of come up a little bit and go processing,
Yep.
and then go deep.
Yeah.
And my cats were more active. But that was my full moon. I'm a Taurus. So that was my full moon. So that my experience for the last 40 years anyway is I'm always going to have a little more adventure of consciousness and what I can integrate and how much I can process when it's my sign's full moon. I do feel like I processed a whole lot.
It's our
and I feel
sign.
like I've really
our
moved to a
birthday's the same
great
day,
place.
remember?
Yeah, so Robert and I have the exact same birthday.
Well, if it was your moon, I'm glad you shared it with the rest of us. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We shared it, and because we're generous. Tauruses are very generous, almost to a fault. But I do think the astrology, other than the exact full moon, the astrology has been very intense. I don't, I'm a triple earth sign, so I don't tend to be like, oh my God, the astrology, I just can't function. I can't do anything. But I'm more like, okay, that was weird. And then I go, we're right before Mercury retrograde. Okay, that makes sense. So I just use it more like it helps me kind of decode things, but I don't look at it like I'm a victim of it at all, ever, because I'm a huge believer in we can create our reality if, again, we're running off the right software, we're in the right mindset, our body is healthy and well, we can literally create our reality. So why would I think that what the planets are doing is going to affect me that much? It's going to affect me, but not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the prevailing thought or feeling we have. The American people waiting for just one Democrat to be held accountable for literally anything. Right after Halloween.
Not going to happen.
Somebody get a parking ticket. That's
not going to happen.
They are
go.
part of the protected class, right? And we still haven't broken that yet. So these guys can pretty much do what they want with impunity, which is annoying, but that's the way it's set up right now.
But also remember, and this is a little morbid, but it's true, Cliff High talked about the giant leaving. I am definitely seeing many more people getting diagnosed with cancer, which I know is turbo cancer. They don't know that because their oncologists didn't say that to them, because oncologists aren't going to say that out loud. But I'm seeing, guys, a lot more left and right. So we're going to have a giant still. We're not at the pinnacle of what those things that went in the arm did at all.
Not yet.
And the comorbidities are still going through the roof. Can you believe it? We had that woman that was pregnant take 1 billion Tylenols and kill herself in response directly to Trump and Kennedy saying Tylenol bad. This is where we are.
Yeah.
So we have to all get real. And this is the creepy part. And I get it. We can't wake everyone up. And not everyone's here to be woken up. And in fact, if we can wake up another 10, 20%, we're doing amazing. And the rest of the people that are in our audiences, they just really need the reinforcement because this is new and different. This is pioneering stuff. So we need a lot of validation, a lot of reinforcement, but we should never expect that more and more and more people will wake up. A few more, yes, I do think. I think New York will wake some people up. Just like way back in the day, I remember, I'm old enough to remember, when New York City was all mafioso. And then Rudy Giuliani, who, by the way, did work with Trump and law enforcement and intelligence groups, actually came in and circled around and got that whole New York mafia out. And then all of a sudden it was, I heart New York. And New York was great, and New York was safe, and they made New York great again. And that really happened, and it happened in our lifetimes. So
I remember
feel
Times
like
Square, you could actually walk through it. It was beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I scattered my dad's ashes in Times Square. Nobody arrested me in Times Square when I kind of went to the different planters and threw some ashes in. I couldn't even do it now. There's too many people in Muslim prayer and whatever. So it's going to be a short little run for New York that's going to help everyone on the planet kind of microcosm in. It's going to be in neon lights, and we have to remember that and keep our ability to be in cognitive. Okay, they just showed that on the media, but I'm over here And okay, what is really happening and is it true or is it just all made up and made believe? And I think that's why,
Zoom back.
discernment is essential.
Yep.
And guess what I've learned as a practitioner? You're not going to have accurate discernment if your cortisol's spiking through the roof and you're in survival state.
In your fear. Yep.
It won't work. I don't care if you're using a pendulum, you're muscle testing, you're divining with your guide. I don't care. If you are in survival state and you're forced into that reptilian brain center, running off that hypothalamic operating system, whatever answers you get may be completely wrong. May be right, but may be complete. And I've seen it over and over again with clients. So we just have to remember the game isn't getting the answers. The game is in our being. So we can receive the answers. Does that make sense?
Yep. Absolutely. Look like you're going to say something, Bruce.
No, I am just taking it all in. I mean, I know that I know like I know my own name, that I'm on the right path. There's just too much synchronicities and stuff going on. And I haven't been as vocal out with, putting out content and stuff like that. But when the beast is unleashed here very, very soon, it's going to blow some people's minds. It's super exciting.
Excellent.
I think the world's ready, really. I mean, this is what's so cool about this show and other shows is that the timing is right. The population is getting more willing to accept alternative media. There's no question about it. Elon buying X helped a whole lot. So I think we're in good shape. I think the main thing that we need to do is recognize that we're here to broadcast. Like really recognize the stark truth of that. Like, that is the pillar. That's what I'm here for. If I'm doing other things, okay, but I don't really have 100% of me turned on unless I'm broadcasting. And that's what the three of us have in common. We're here to, we're literally, our lives are here so that we can broadcast. And then our job becomes staying healthy and well and keeping our endocrine system right so we're not forced into that hypothalamic stuff, but that we're literally, when we're in the pineal operating system, that is the system of downloads. That's the system of flow. That's the system of getting guidance. Oh, I was just minding my business, brushing my teeth, and boom, all this stuff came in, and I knew, yep, that's what I got to be doing next. That's my next show. That's my next book. That's my next article. So we want to help people really go for that in any way possible, whether it's breath work. I don't really care what it is, but we have to help people understand the way the world is running the human mind is a corrupt operating system. Never mind the content of that corruption, but the whole system is corrupt.
Yep. Need a reset, reboot. Sometimes I get things get a little crazy in my head. I mean, it's inside my mind, it's a very, very dangerous place. But sometimes if things get a little wonky, and I'm reaching for that plug to unplug the computer system, and then I got to unplug, and that there's metaphors and all there. Unplug, get back, and then reboot the system. But sometimes you can reboot. Robert just helped me out. This is a perfect example of this. Upgrade one of my older computers that I had, and we had to go through this process. And no matter what we tried to do, the hardware was too outdated to accept the upgraded software.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm feeling it right now. So our bodies are saying, wait, sometimes we have to reset. We have to get new hardware. You have to change all kinds of crazy stuff in your body to be able to get the upgraded operating system to work properly. There's a whole, I feel like I'm preaching right now. Holy cow. I just got a whole idea for a brand new show just right now.
Oh, and I'm on that show with you for sure. Because if you don't know what hardware is not working properly, you can have the best intention in the world to reset that software. You can pray, meditate, fast, go out in the desert, whatever. But if you've got hardware, i.e. endocrine glands, because your endocrine system runs this thing, if you've got adrenals off because they've been, working in America for 40, 50, 60 years or whatever, you're not going to make it.
Nope.
It won't work. So
Nope.
That's what's so cool about this is we have ways of fixing the hardware. Most people think their software is broken. No, it's mostly their hardware is broken, because once the hardware is fixed, with a few simple exercises, you go automatically into that superior software system, that operating system called the pineal operating system. It's like comparing Windows over here is your hypothalamic, dualistic, I'm running off of broken glands and whatever. And then you have Mac over here. It's that different. Like they're really different.
And I'm
So we
going for
have
that
to,
quantum thing. I want that quantum thing. That's what I want.
but the only way to get there is through the pineal operating system.
Yep,
So
yep.
so the bottom line is, the more you function off the pineal operating system, the more you can train yourself to release more DMT from the pineal gland. That's when you go quantum. Our pineal glands were much larger, and we can enlarge our own, and they were designed to release beaucoup DMT so we could be quantum and commune across great distances telepathically and do all these things that we now think are super senses or superpowers. No, that's an original design. But we have to make sure the hardware is working properly. Those
Yep.
glands have to be happy.
And I'm guessing none of this stuff was on Rob's outline for today's show.
No, none of it.
I know.
No, and then they put fluoride in the water, and what that does to your pineal gland, it calcifies it, and then you don't have that connection anymore. So yeah, it's.
So how perfect was that? I mean, like, think about it. If you go, okay, wait a second. So what Dr. J is saying is this pineal gland is supposed to be a lot bigger. What's the fastest way to shrink it? Fluoride. That is the fastest
Yep.
way to shrink a pineal gland, for sure, for sure. And then you look at, okay, and this is how crazy our society has become. There are actually people arguing for fluoride now in the face of all the facts. That's a great example of what a low brain energy state stuck in the reptilian brain center, which all they can do is right, wrong, good, bad. And they cannot hold a cognitive dissonance enough to just go, what if a little of that was true? They just go shorting out and they go, no, I don't believe it. And I've had that conversation with family members, pregnant mothers that are, mothers of little toddlers feeding vitamins. The first word in the description is fluoride. You're just like, please don't know. No, because again, when you're in the wrong operating system, all you're good for is dualistic, right, wrong, good, bad, kill or be killed. That's it. That's all you got. And so that's, I think, a really important job for all of us, is to be able to have conscious conversations that assist people in, I don't like the idea of 50 Shades of Grey because the book was all sexual and whatnot.
Right.
But there's a 50 Shades of Grey of cognitive dissonance, and we got to get really good at that as a humanity. Okay, what Robert said is way over here compared to what I actually believe. But what if 20% of what Robert just shared is true? See, we don't have any of that going on in our society right now. Like, it's literally like line in the sand. That bounced off my belief system, and none of what he just said can be true. That's not intelligence. So we're in trouble with the human mind. And I don't like that the answer is we're going to see a large die-off, but I do believe that is part of the answer. I don't like it. I love humanity. I'm an ordained minister. I want people to live and prosper and love their maker.
Live
But we're
long and
not going to.
prosper.
Yep, and that, but we're not going to see all that. Okay, we're just not going to see all that. So the question is, what do people like us actually do? What do we latch on to? What do we galvanize ourselves around? And I think it's sharing information, but also fostering more intelligence.
Well,
How can we collectively?
Yeah, exactly. And
foster
that's
more
why we
intelligence?
do these shows, because people were asking that question. It's like, why are you doing this? You're compromising your career. You had a good career in the marketing industry and speaking and the motivational world. And now I'm talking politics, right? And why would you do this? And the truth of the matter is, it's like the vision is, if we don't inform enough people, then, it's over. There is no country to have a business in. And there's nowhere to run, by the way. There's no other country that would give you what you can get here. So I think, all three of us are in that same boat. We're just like, you know what? We need to inform people. And we're going to take whatever angle we're going to take, but we're going to inform them, help them to think, because in school they weren't trained to think. We were trained to listen, respect authority, memorize what we were told, and then spit it back out for an exam. No point in there they teach you how to, life isn't black and white. There are millions of colors between black and white. We weren't allowed to think that way. We weren't allowed to analyze. So very few of us really have that gift. And if you do, man, you're so lucky, because you could get through life a lot easier understanding what's going on just by asking a few simple questions. That's all. But the simple mind says, oh, that's what it is. Okay, good. I'm good. I don't need anything more. Right?
Nope. You're 100% correct. And it's not people's fault. It's like Dr. Jesse was saying, it's the system. It's a corrupted system that is corrupting us. And, so now we have to, draw that. You talk about drawing a line in the sand. We have to draw the line in the sand and say, we're not going to be playing over there anymore. It's way better on this side of the railroad tracks, and showing it by living it. Where else? I mean, you're talking about our shows. Where else? Such a wide, politics, news, medical stuff, philosophical, spiritual. I mean, we're covering everything here just to help people have a better life and be a little bit better tomorrow than they are today. I enjoy this so much.
I do too. I come alive with it. When I was in college, I discovered that there was a class called Logic 101. Blew me away. So this is exactly speaking to what you and Robert were just discussing, which is people don't really know how to think anymore. So when I took Logic 101 and then I took the second class up from that, I realized that there was a whole way of orienting in reality in the 3D that was completely rational, congruent, and only involved deductive reasoning. And I realized that nobody was doing that.
Right. Nobody is. They're not taught.
Nobody was doing that. Yeah. Like, absolutely not. So I went and took all the logic classes that my college offered. Then I discovered that we had a system where I could go over to the neighboring university and take PhD level logic classes, which I did, which I was very intimidated about, but I did. And it kind of completed something for me where my brain only works that way. Like it's actually a problem around regular folk, because I'll hear someone say something and my mind is already taking it apart and looking for, is that congruent? Was that even rational? What was actually in there that wasn't said, but it was actually in there blatantly? Okay, that's the rabbit hole I'm going down.
Right.
So it's again problematic around, family members or whatever. When I'm in my work and I'm working with people, I can really see that most people have no ability to extract logical data from what they're given. That has been taken out of the educational system.
Yep.
I had to go to an Ivy League college to get those courses. It should be taught in high school. There was nothing that I learned that was harder than trigonometry. But we weren't exposed.
It leaves us susceptible to the fear porn that's out there. And what ends up happening, I get a lot of people, they'll tell me, we love your show because you're the voice of reason. You calm us down, right? So Bruce and I get that kind of feedback a lot. And they're not getting it out there. So they're coming here and they're saying, okay, tell us what's going on in the world. And don't do it in a way that's going to scare us, but do it in a way that tells us that it's going to be okay. And that's what we do. We break down the stories and we look at it from that perspective and we say, you know what? This looks scary on the outside, like you talked about with New York City. It looks scary on the outside. There's a lot of fear porn around what might happen. Rarely do those things ever happen. And, people are, back in that space. Cortisol goes up, brain function goes down. They don't see the way around it. So, we're combating that with bringing a little bit of calm to the whole situation. And Bruce and I, that's kind of what our claim to fame is at this point. It's like, we're what is it my chiropractor calls me? He calls me the dirt that grounds people so that people can grow and be who they are. I'm like, I don't really like that, but okay, I get it.
Yeah, but listen, soil-based organisms are the bomb for the gut system. So if you're the dirt, you're the bomb.
Says the triple Earth sign.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the bomb. I mean, that's it. People need the grounding. They need a sense of, here's a container that I can engage in and I can integrate enough information to not be in that reptilian brain freak and peaks thing. That's, we need to help. If people have an ear to listen and they come to these shows, they need to understand your game is getting out of fear. The whole thing revolves around you being able to get out of fear. We can't get you out of fear, but we can maybe broadcast information and be with you in a way that helps you get out of fear. But your game is to get out of the fear, because that's what the other side wants. And we can't let that happen. I don't want them to win. The fighter in me, I have a fighter in me, and they're like, no, you MF, you're not going to get me. No, you don't.
Let's take a little break. Bruce, I want to turn the mic over to you real quick.
What? Me?
Yeah,
I didn't
you.
get the show notes. What are we doing?
Switch USA. Tell me about it.
Oh my gosh. Well, if we're talking about health and getting your body's, systems right, people don't realize, I say it over and over and over again, the stuff that they allow us to consume that's in our alleged food, and not just food, the stuff that you use every single day. There's so much stuff in there that is foreign to the body. It can't handle it. But those ingredients are banned and illegal in other countries. If we want to start getting our hardware system fixed out, we got to get rid of the toxins out of our house, right? We got to start having that wellness, lifestyle of, being proactive instead of, waiting until you get sick. And so we got to be on top of it. And the biggest thing is people are busy these days. They don't have time to go anywhere. Things are crazy expensive. I hear people all the time, oh, I would love to eat healthy and organic, but it's so expensive, I can't afford it. Here's an alternative. We have a fantastic manufacturer we've aligned ourselves with that makes consumer goods, everything we use every single day. So go to switchusa.info and use just like a wellness shopping club is the easiest way to describe it. Fill out the form. It's a one-on-one, interview thing, show you the store, and it's all referral based. So yeah, fill out the form and I will give you a call. I am busy. So if people have filled out the form and I haven't called them in a couple of days, this thing coming up on Saturday is consuming a lot of my time. So, but go there. I will get to everybody. Thank you.
And Bruce was kind enough to bring over some steaks that he got from this company, and they were really, really, really good. So thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that.
It was a pleasure.
Grass-fed, grain-finished. Oh boy,
meat.
It's the way it's supposed to be.
The carnivore in me. I love carnivorous stuff.
Yeah, I've been doing carnivore now. I'm way into my second year. I was doing ketogenic or always organic for 40 years, but then ketogenic for probably 7 or 8 years before that. And then the last 2 years carnivore, well, really dirty carnivore, where we add avocado. We're living in the Yucatan right now.
Oh.
And so we get avocados just like they're dirt cheap, like 3 cents each or something ridiculous.
That's really
good.
I got a whole mountainside full of avocados right in front of me. I can go pick anything I want.
I was growing them in Florida. So I figure that, I've read all the book on carnivore and whatever, what have you. I figure if my body no longer wants the avocado, I'll get a clue. But right now it wants an avocado a day. And then we're just eating red meat and occasionally some fish or shrimp. And a lot of butter, and it's working great. Like I am completely blown away by how well it's working for me. Now I am a blood type O. I know there's different blood types that may or may not do as well with full-blown carnivore, but I certainly am.
Tell us about Keener Intelligent tips at drjessie.life. What's going on with your website these days?
Yeah, actually, my husband, who's a coder, is literally as we speak redoing it. But I've written some stuff to help people understand, what intelligence actually is, because I don't think people understand actually what that is anymore. We confuse intellectual with intelligence. And intellectual, and I give an example in one of the articles, you can have a super high IQ. Okay, that's intellect, a grade or a score on your intellect, but you can be a chain-smoking alcoholic. I've met those people. And you could have a much lower IQ and be really into wellness and healthy habits and la, la, la. So IQ doesn't cut it. EQ doesn't cut it either, because EQ means you have awareness about your emotional quotient. You understand emotions a little bit. You know not to yell at your kids. You know to contain your distress at your spouse when she comes home from work and she's all blah, blah, blah at you. But it doesn't mean you actually can process much. It doesn't mean that you're going to be at the end of the day feeling calm and relaxed. I've seen a lot of people with high IQ, including therapists, Reiki masters, blow their health to smithereens because they didn't have any way to integrate all the emotional stuff. So intelligence is actually a layer above all that. And it's where you're integrating the emotions, you're integrating your mind, and you're aware that you are creating your reality. And because you're aware that you're creating your reality, you are, and again, this is because you're running off the pineal operating system, you are able then to direct thoughts and direct what's happening in your life in a different way. So intelligence to me is the most important thing in our reality, because that's what accesses different dimensions. That's what, when we're in a very low level of intelligence, that's when we're in the reptilian brain center, we're thinking off the hypothalamic system. You know, most of our politicians, most of our medical doctors are all running off of that hypothalamic operating system. They don't have strong intelligence. No, I think there's some people in certain positions, and I would put DJT there, they actually have real intelligence. Like their pineal system is wide open. They're channeling some really high level stuff. But most people, not so much.
Not so much. I want to get into, thank you for that. I want to get into the topic of the spraying. So let's watch this little clip here. And by the way, drjessie.life is her website. That's what that is down there. Some people don't know .life is a website. drjessie.life, that's where you'll find her. But let's watch this.
My name is Emily, and my biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day. Bromium, aluminum, strontium, it's sprayed in our skies all day long. And I know you've talked to Dane Wigington about this. He seems to be one of the experts in the field.
Is there a question?
Yes. How do we stop it?
That is not happening in my agency. You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA. And a lot of it now is coming out of the jet fuel.
Yes,
so,
sir.
you know, those materials are put in jet fuel. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. We're bringing on somebody who's going to think only about that, find out who's doing it, and holding them accountable.
Yes, sir.
DARPA, huh? That was a revelation.
Oh, not for me. No, that was.
That's. I thought that was all common knowledge.
Yeah, me too.
Well, yeah, for us, there's no
Right,
question,
yeah.
but it's a revelation that he's actually
yeah.
saying it out loud. Is what It's like, wait a minute.
Oh
really?
yeah, for sure. But there's even private companies. It's not some secret spy thing. There's private companies. It's a legitimate business model that is running and functioning today in different places. You can pay, to have cloud seeded and stuff sprayed. To be able to affect weather is one thing. And having there's a huge difference. They say it's all just vapor and condensation. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
In the way that it dissipates. You can see there's something going on there. And even, now even states are banning that type of stuff. I think Tennessee might have been the first. Florida has done it. I know that there's probably others that I don't know off the top of my head.
Bruce,
but yeah,
listen to this. Florida has banned it at the state level, but it's still happening. I get friends from Florida telling me all the time, no, it's still happening.
Well, yeah. I'm guessing that it's, the state is only banning like state stuff. It's no state sponsored or governmental agencies doing it, but there's still private companies. So I don't know what the answer is and how we stop it.
I'll tell you how to stop it. You shoot one of those MFs right down from the sky. That's how you stop it.
That's probably a little on the extreme side. That's probably.
But not, I think we're at that point.
I'm getting what you're saying. I'm getting what you're saying for sure.
I mean, I think there has to be a federal executive order against it. There has to be whatever the top of the situation can be, because this is a national security issue now. So that's probably how they're going to have to go after it. It's not like a health hazard. No, it's a national security issue.
Yeah.
But I also heard, and this is kind of weird, and I don't know what you guys know. I also heard that part of the chemtrailing issue is they need that for certain communication systems to work properly. There's something about that that enhances, and again, this would be the DARPA side of this, enhances the secret communications happening all the time. So there's something I'm not saying it right, but there's something with that. I remember reading about that and seeing posts on X about that years ago. So this may be a really tricky thing, but I do think, you know, if we listen to Trump's verbiage lately, he's actually said, no, we will shoot you. He dropped the F-bomb last week. He said about the guy in New York, no, we'll just arrest you. So I think he just needs to go public and say, no, we're just going to actually drop you from the sky.
Around here, the farmers here had the soils tested, and they're finding very high levels of aluminum in the soil, which is not normal, right?
No, it's awful. No,
Yeah.
it's awful. We know what's in there. Like, there's no question about what's in there. The real question is, how do we get it to stop? Because it's awful. It's harming every living organism. And I know RFK Jr. knows that it's harming every living organism. So it's not really a question of, what to do about this. The question is, how fast can we get it to stop? And I think the fact that it isn't stopping. So I'm in the Yucatan right now, and we've had HARP and geoengineering for 2 days straight. I mean, just ridiculous. You just see the harping, you're like, wow, I didn't want to go outside. It's scary.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, okay, is this the last hurrah? Maybe this is the last hurrah. This is what they do when they're, the rats are finally leaving the Titanic, and this is what it looks like, because it hasn't stopped in Florida. Most of my clientele is in Florida, and they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm still seeing it. It's still happening.
Yeah, so I think
It's
Bruce is right.
deadly.
A lot of these private companies are just contractors to whoever, and they will not tell you who's hired them, who's paying them. We don't know that. It's very, very cloaked in secrecy. And you would think, because they're at the airports, and the airports will actually put out NOTAMs and say no geoengineering, no weather modification equipment on certain days. They won't let them fly. So it's like, it's not a secret that they're there. I mean, people, they're just contrails. No, it's not a secret. They're there. Those are the private contractors, but there's like this wall of silence you can't get past. You can't figure out who's behind them. And it's really frustrating from us. It's like, we have to know who's doing this.
Oh, yeah. Remember it wasn't long ago, all that crazy weather that was happening in Texas, like multiple storms. It was it was pretty obvious. It was not a natural type situation. And everybody was talking about, they got to stop the geoengineering, the weather manipulation, blah, blah, talking about, there was a big uproar about this. And then the guy, one of the biggest companies that does this stuff, actually had to come out in a public statement and said, hey, it wasn't us. We didn't have nothing to do with this. He was kind of washing his hands of the whole thing, but he had to actually come out publicly because there was such a big backlash about it. And he came out and said, yeah, no, our company, it starts with an R. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, our company did not have anything to do with this. So yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to have anything to do with it. Because those DARPA guys, they can go up there and just drop lasers. They just drop lasers into a system, and man, watch that thing go. I've watched so many hurricanes in the last 5 years go from a minor tropical depression to a full-blown hurricane, category 3 or 4. And you can actually see some of these different websites that I go to just for fun. You can actually see the laser beams dropping into the system, and then it goes. So, yeah, I do think this is probably the last hurrah. And I think this is an important thing for us all to be conscious about for many reasons. One is, number one, we're all inhaling heavy metals and radioactive heavy metals left and right. Like, that's happening to all of us. And if we're not doing things for the radiation and we're not doing things for the heavy metals, it's time to start, because we're all getting inundated with that. And, one of the most important things for radiation is some form of naturally occurring iodine, because the first place of filtration for radiation is the thyroid gland. And America is like F minus on thyroids. We're not even D or C minus. We're like F
Yep.
on thyroids. That's why there's so much obesity, and there's many reasons for this. But we have to get clear. Radiation it's in our environment, and it's in the air we're breathing now. So we all need to be on some form of seaweed or naturally occurring iodine for sure. And we need to make sure that periodically we're doing some kind of detox here, because this stuff does not go away. The thing that I learned 40 years ago about heavy metals is the minute that we breathe them in, they are going right into soft tissue. Now, normal toxins we breathe in, they circulate the blood, they go to the liver, and they get processed, neutralized, sent to the kidneys. Not even close with heavy metals. Heavy
Wow.
metals are so dangerous, the body knows they can't go to the liver. That's liver failure in just a day or two of breathing heavy metals. So the body says, let me just store those in fat cells, which is then an attractant factor for all your major pathogens, your viruses, your fungus, your parasites, your bacteria. And that's one step away from a cancer furnace. So we do have to be conscious. We don't want to be paranoid. We don't want to stop taking full breaths of air, but we need to understand, no, this is happening, and it's happening very regularly, and it's been happening for 13, 15 years. So that's the part, is we're all
It's
getting
just
more
a
and more.
process because we can't avoid it. We have to put regimens in place to be able to maintain our situation.
We
As
have
far,
to.
when you're talking about heavy metals, my favorite by all far, Black Sabbath. Just saying.
All right, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you. Yeah.
R.I.P. Ozzy.
Go Ozzy, go Ozzy. But yeah, so, and again, this is the subtle stuff that people don't understand. So when I was toxic in lead and mercury in my early 20s, I was a stained glass artist. So I got very toxic in lead, didn't know. And then I had 12 fillings in my teeth. So I got really toxic from chewing and talking. All that mercury went into my body. So I was off the charts on the testing with lead and mercury. When that stage of my life was happening, I was almost brain dead. I had no skills. I was like so dumbed down, like the light was being snuffed out. I couldn't barely complete sentences, and I certainly couldn't do my brilliant deductive reasoning, logic. No, nothing. I was sick and tired. I had headaches, and I just couldn't be bright.
Kind of like Joe Biden.
Think about our population right now, between what went in the arms and all the boosters that went in the arms, and think about 13, 15 years of breathing in all these heavy metals. We're seeing people so dumbed down.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even touch the seed oils and the other food stuff, right? So we're looking at a very slow, gradual demise of the population. And we just, none of me likes this, but we're going to have to get used to this. And we're going to have to understand that not everyone's going to have the wherewithal, the discipline, and the initiative to do what we're talking about. And they're just going to keep fading on out, exit stage left. And we're going to see a huge number in the next 2 years. I'm not even prepared for the numbers. It's going to be massive.
And they keep suppressing people like you who want to share this information. I was shadow banned pretty much immediately on YouTube, and I was sharing this stuff right in 2020 when it all was happening. This is the stuff we were talking about. I mean, you and I connected through a nutraceutical company way back when, and we're in this industry. I mean, I've been following chiropractic world for 25 years now. This is the kind of stuff that is sort of front and center for me to be able to share. And, we're told, oh, chiropractors are quacks. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. And truthfully, they're kind of on the top of the food chain, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of times with, with what their health is, the health advice that they give. And, it's like we've got to get past that. We've got to get people to really understand that modern medicine is not the solution. It's actually more of the problem, right? And government handouts is not going to help. Yeah.
I think I actually mentioned this on the last interview we did, Robert, where I said that the AMA certified, board certified physicians, they're really good for 3 to 5% of what walks in their door. 3 to 5% of what walks in their door will fit their skill set and what they can actually do well that'll make a positive difference for that patient. maybe the positive difference is just eliminating symptoms and they die later anyway of whatever. But you see what I'm saying? 3 to 5%. That is such a stunningly low number, but it's accurate. So we really have to revolutionize healthcare in America. And I remember when Hillary Clinton was married to Bill and he was president, and she started her whole campaign about revolutionizing healthcare. And I got excited for about 30 seconds until I realized it had nothing to do with healthcare. And it was just all about arguing who was going to pay for the death disease care system that we were already embedded in.
Yep.
So, RFK Jr. is under a lot of attack. It's really a hard job he has. We need to support that whole movement a lot. And if we can help other people get on board with that, that's going to make a difference. We have to revolutionize healthcare. It's just rotten at the core, except for we're talking broken bones, we're talking brain bleeds, we're talking, certain emergency situations where you need triaging. That's what we have one of the best systems in the world for. But, what is that? 97%, 95% of what walks in the door, they got nothing. And what they will apply will be harmful.
Right.
And that's where we are.
They don't talk parasites. They don't talk diet. They don't talk exercise. All the things that they won't tell you to go out in the sun and get some sun. They won't tell you to put your feet in the sand, the ground. I mean,
no, don't go in the sun. You'll get cancer. You get skin cancer.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Scare you away from the things that work.
It's very interesting.
They say, don't go out in the sun. And then they put this stuff on, this cream. It's supposed to protect you from the UV rays, and then that shit causes cancer more than the sun would cause cancer.
There you go. Yep.
Come on.
And then if you get in a chlorine pool, that shit causes cancer twice and 3 times as fast as regular putting it on your skin and going into the sun. So, yeah, if there was ever a way to cull herds, whoever's running the system, they sure have their systems down as far as how to just whitewash a bunch of stuff and just keep culling and culling and culling while extracting all the dollars out at the same time.
Oh, yeah, they're masters at extracting those dollars for sure. That's why I'm choosing to not participate in a lot of the systems that are out there currently.
Okay. We got to go here.
Don't.
We got to go to this story because you mentioned the word culling. And there's a culling that's happening today.
Somebody got the show notes.
Believe that it's starting today. The Supreme Court has denied seeing the ostrich farm's appeal, and they are moving forward with the slaughtering. Now, the story is deeper than what is being presented here. And I think people have to really understand what's really going on here. They didn't test these birds. These birds don't have any flu. They tested 3 carcasses back in January, and I think one of them may have tested positive or something, but they refuse to test them again because they know the tests are going to come back negative. So what's really going on here is this ostrich farm, they were doing research into the ostrich egg and the, the antibodies that is in the ostrich egg and the diseases that it could cure. What do you think's really going on? Who's behind all of this? This would be really bad news if it went out there, if you found cures inside of an ostrich egg, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They want to get rid of the farm. They want to bankrupt them. How do they do that? They take the herd, 400 birds,
and call it avian flu.
Right. It's always about the avian flu, right? It's always that.
So it was 45 years ago. I was in Austin, Texas. I knew nothing about holistic health or healing, but I met a guy. He was a musician. He and his girlfriend were sponsoring a gentleman from Missouri to come down to Austin and do healing sessions on people. The guy's name was Stanley Burroughs. He wrote Healing for the Age of Enlightenment. He created the Master Cleanser Lemonade Diet. Mm-hmm. His book also had reflexology and how to do it, and it had color therapy and how to do that. Stanley had just gotten out of jail. The reason he was put in jail was because one of his clients had purged naturally through his master cleanser a very large tumor and had proceeded to put it in a jar with a preservative and show all his friends. Oops. word got out that Stanley had cured cancer, and that guy spent a year in jail as a 67-year-old man,
Wow.
a farmer from Missouri. So I'm now 67. That happened 45 years ago. I was a very young adult, and I realized they will stop at nothing. They will stop at absolutely nothing. If they think something's a threat to their agenda, and since then I've watched many of my peers be suicided, Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez, Dr. Bradstreet, it doesn't end, which is part of why I've kept such a low profile, because I have kids and I don't want to be suicided. But this is a thing. Like, this has been going on for a very, very long time. And corruption always is the one that comes in and says, we're going to override this and take you out. Or, I mean, they even did it to Tesla. So do I think this is ever going to really change? Probably not. But here's what I also think. I think that if enough of us, it's the 100th monkey once again, if enough of us have the knowledge, have the data, and just keep sharing and sharing, the 100th monkey says that 100th monkey gets the data, boom, all the monkeys change.
And
So
that's where we started. Yep, that's exactly where we
that's where
started.
we are, right?
Yeah, when enough of us get together and say no more, things will change, because they don't have the power to control all of us. They will get us in fear. They've got control of the media. They've got control of the politicians. That's why nothing ever gets done in the political world that is in favor of us. That's not what they want. And that's why we're seeing, the ostriches being, culled, as they call it, at this point, is because there was something there that they don't want to get out. They don't want people to know there's cures for things in those eggs. So
Yeah, see, if I would love to go put together a covert operation in the middle of the night and go and steal all those birds and tell those people to F off, just put them somewhere else. Just move the birds in the middle of the night, do some big covert, spy type stuff. That'd be fun.
So you see what
That would be
happened, though.
fun.
You see what happened in Canada. They don't have their guns. So now the
No, they
RCMP has got this covered, and there's nothing you can do. They're armed and you're not. That wouldn't happen that way in the United States, I don't think, because people there'd be enough outrage that they would back off. Enough of us show up armed, it would be like that would be the end of it. There would be a standoff, and then they would leave. Right?
All right.
Well, for sure, in states like Florida, Texas, they're like, "Come on, bring it."
Yeah, bring
come
it,
on to my
exactly.
property. You
Yeah.
tried taking out one of my ostriches.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's really sad. And I know the people that own the farm have reached out to President Trump. They've
Right.
reached out to Elon. So this is definitely getting a huge global set of ears and eyes on it. And a lot of what will console me at bedtime these days is realizing, okay, but at least we got a lot of ears and eyes on it. At least
Yeah.
there's a lot of people going, what the heck? They didn't even test the birds and they're trying to kill them all. Like,
Yeah.
why?
They won't test them.
We need that. We need that over and over. We need people to unplug from the view and go, I like ostriches. Why are they killing ostriches?
But what would they do if we could get 100,000 people to show up, at the property and make a human barricade?
They'd have to back down. There'd be too many of us. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
needs to happen.
I mean, what's the number you think that would take to make them back down? The RCMP, you say, would be 200, 500.
Well, they have a
Probably
couple
not more
hundred
than
there.
500. I
Yeah.
think 500 would cut it nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But
Right.
it is
this
very interesting.
until we have to have some type of militant attitude. We just can't wait, for somebody else to always do the work. I say that again all too well. We've outsourced our own self-governance for so very long. We don't even know what it means anymore.
Right.
And so, this process of, awakening, if you want to call it that, is way much more than that. But it helps us to get, move along that path and understand some of the things that we've done or thought or believed in the past have to be different. And that's why we have to be, it sounds cheesy, but yeah, we have to be the change that we want to see in the world. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
If you want to hear more of his story that
Absolutely.
he's sticking to, brucepoppy.com is where you'll find Bruce. And if you want to find out more about me, renegademedia.tv or at Renegade Media on Telegram. We maintain a Telegram channel there that's quite busy. And, just way to keep in touch with us, because there's a lot going on and there's a lot to share. So, Dr. Jesse, last words
speaking
for today.
of military, speaking of the military, I still remember way back from sometime 2017, 2018, the military is the only way.
Yeah.
It's the only way, guys. It's just, we're about to see. I think that's probably what's going to happen next. And here's what I don't think we can appreciate is what impact that's going to have on the rest of the world when other nations see that Mr. Trump executed a plan where the military went out and put things right in their country. And they're going to go, well, wait, why can't we? Could we have that? Can we do that?
Yeah, the ripple effect's going to be massive. It's going to be good to see. It's going to be bumpy for us to go through it. That's going to be shocking for some people, but those of us in the know, and if you follow the Q boards, that's been the the resounding message through there is the military is the only way. We kept hearing that again and again. Bruce, what do you think is going to happen?
In what respect?
Where we go next?
That's a pretty broad. What's next? I would keep an eye. Just this is one of the markers I was talking about. Just keep an eye. There's you can see some little things happening. A couple other people have been talking about it, but with this recent election thing that's going on, and the Prop 50 thing in California, which is as criminal as the day is long, that Trump's been hinting, and there could be there probably will be an executive order at some point. But one of the key factors, he can escalate it even more and declare a national emergency because of our elections, because they know and found some crazy fraudulent thing like the Prop 50 thing in California, because he's already investigating that for criminal stuff. So this is it could happen, and this has to happen quicker. I hate dates and time, but for us to have any type of chance in the midterms, we have to get control of the elections, because we know that even if optically the Democrats get back in power, that we know that everything's going backwards. So I don't think we're going to go to that situation. We've come too far to go there. And we'll see how ugly it gets in New York, if that really ends up happening. And that becomes like Jesse talked about earlier, a massive awakening of people, normie types that wouldn't even put thinks that socialism is, the bee's knees. And that's just the way to get this utopian society is, everybody share, love, kumbaya until you run out of other people's money. So
Mandami said there's no problem too big for government to solve and no matter too small for government to care about. Reagan says the 9 most terrifying words of the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. To give you that juxtaposition.
100% true.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I have to agree with Bruce. I feel like that's what's coming is they're really gearing up and ramping up for a giant disclosure on fraudulent elections and how much has happened in our past and the 2020 election and the 2016 election. Those are all up. They're all coming up and they're all going to be disclosed. And,
sooner than we think. Tina
yes.
Peters is now being moved to a federal prison. And a lot
of
people
move
are
is
saying,
happening. I heard there was a request, but they actually did make the move.
Yeah, Dr. Naomi Wolf posted that they actually did it and it went through. I don't know when she'll be transferred, but then that gives Trump the ability to pardon her, number one. And number two, they're thinking that she's going to be a key witness for upcoming trial about the 2020 election because she was right there. She has the data.
Yay.
So things are moving. It's just sometimes a little frustrating. That's a little bit on the slow side, especially for those of us in the know, those who watch this kind of show. And, it's like, come on already. Come on. We're 1 year in. We've got to get something. But Dr. Jesse, I think you're right. I think it's going to be more like a volcano when it starts and it's going to roar and things are going to happen a lot quicker than we can imagine. So.
And in order for it to work effectively, Trump has to repeal that Smith-Mundt executive order that Obama did. And we've talked about this before, the three of us. That's still pending, and he has not revoked it. But I think there's going to be a specific point in time where he executive order revokes that and then pushes this stuff out. The team pushes this stuff out, and no legacy media can lie about it anymore. They can't. They know they can't. Yeah. They're either going to jail or they're being shut down or they're just disclosing truth now.
It's
So that's
going to
gonna be
get
fun.
good. It's going to get
I like
good.
that scenario.
Me too. That's why I sleep at night.
Dr. Jesse, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today. And drjesse.life is where you'll go, and you'll find her there. And Bruce, always a pleasure to have you here as well. And,
If you're anywhere near San Diego, Saturday morning, early, 8 a.m. So come Friday night, stay over somewhere, San Marcos. You can come and check it out. It's all over the website, Screw Big Gov for Lewis thing, the hermsforcali.com website. Our event's free, so if you're anywhere near San Diego, it's going to be epic. 8 a.m. to 12:30 on Saturday morning, November 8th. So,
I'll be there.
Go there.
And Bruce will be there.
Come and see us.
A lot of good people, too.
Scott McKay, Mike Jaco.
Yeah.
Deepak is performing like 3 songs. Tom Cavs is performing. Joe and Scott from TrueStream are going to be there. Mary Crowley,
Layla
Laura
Ali
Worley,
will be there. Yeah.
Layla Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm forgetting people. Mel Carmine's going to be there. Mark Messina. So and you know, in the evening is debate for all the candidates, well, the GOP at least, and Lewis. So our event's in the morning and the debate is at night. So it's going to be an all-day fun thing. And Saturday, come check
2
us
events,
out.
one day. It'll be a lot of fun. It's hermsforcali.com is where you go /events, or just click on the events tab and it'll give you all the information right there. Thank you all. Appreciate everyone. Lots of love to all our listeners, all our viewers, and we'll be back Monday with another episode of The Movement. And Bruce will be back next Thursday with us here for this show. And, Bruce is going to have more time, so that means he's going to be doing more shows. Ooh. You got to have Dr.
Buckle up,
Jesse on
Buttercup.
sooner rather than later, Bruce.
Yep. Next week, I'll probably be somewhere in Arizona, I think.
Oh, excellent. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night and enjoy the weekend.
Thank Robert. Good
You're
night.
welcome.
See ya, Jesse.